Hey everybody, it's your boys John and Patrick back at it, here with a brand new series to you. This is the Hot D Lover Boys review and discussion. House of the Dragon Season 2 just dropped their first episode. Man, we've been waiting in anticipation for what, 1 year now? 2 years? Definitely not more than two.
A year and a half,
Year
at
and a
least.
half. It was postponed by the writer's strike, but man, I think it was well worth it. Okay, where to begin? I don't remember anybody's names. Gonna be honest.
Hey, cool, because going into this, I didn't rewatch any of season one. I watched a 10-minute recap video and then the recap before the episode started.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
that
felt like I
helps.
had a pretty good grasp of things until they mentioned the Kingsguard, like the twins, and how one of them went with the greens and one with the blacks. I'm like, oh, I completely didn't remember that.
Forgot
Um,
about that. I definitely forgot Luke died. Thought this
it's
was.
like,
Yeah, no,
okay,
it's been a while, man. I watched it once a year and a half ago. Seen a lot of
that,
things since
I
then.
don't know. That stuck with me. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see. Forgot what? Why Aemond isn't king, but Aegon is.
Isn't Aegon the oldest?
Yeah, that's so. Why isn't Aegon the king, but Aemond is the king?
Aemon's not the king. Aegon's the king.
Am I saying that backwards? Okay, the king is Aegon, correct?
Yes.
Why isn't Aemon the king? Isn't he older?
No, I thought Aegon was.
I could have sworn he was older, but it makes sense if Aemon's older, or sorry, Aegon's older. I'm hoping I just have him backwards there because I was confused the whole time.
Now you got me double checking. I'm gonna double check that.
He looks older
Oh, he's taller. The tallies keep getting
and more muscularly.
and less IE.
Yeah, he has like half as many eyes. That usually comes with age.
Let's see.
Anywho, so a brief recap. King Viserys is dead. His daughter was the rightful heir to the throne, but due to a miscommunication, his second wife believes that it's her son who's the rightful heir to the throne. So now the country's all out civil war. We open this actually time around with the Starks going up to the wall, and we get a whole speech about how every year or something they send 1 out of 10 Stark men to go join the Knights of the Men Watch. I know what I said there. So we get a nice view at the wall. We get some nice eerie foreshadowing about, oh, what does this wall keep out? Death. Ooh, what does that mean? I bet it means literal dead people. I
I
was
hope it
right.
pays off well.
But that, I don't know. It's nice to see the wall again, but it's also nice to not look like we're going to be spending a heck of a lot of time there, because I mean,
Hmm.
without the Night Walkers, what are they called? The White Walkers. Without them hanging
Yes.
around, there's really not much going on at the wall.
Yeah. Now I was watching the post episode behind the scenes thing that they do, and Ryan Condal, the showrunner, was like, "Yeah, we wanted to start with like a little bit of peace, something that was a little familiar, and Winter Run felt like a good place to do
Mm-hmm.
that." And it's like, all right, okay. It was good to be there again and hear some of that same accent that we got from Game of Thrones. So I was like, okay, that's neat.
That I did. Just hard pivoting to another point in the show here. You've got Aegon, he's the king, and he brings his like infant son, maybe 3, 4 years old, into the small council room. He's letting this
Hmm.
kid run around, and he's the prince, so he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah, at one point, someone tries to stop the kid, and he's like, "Hey, how about you be his horsey? How about you play horsey with him?" And it's just kind of this
Hmm.
intense moment of you're gonna make a grown man play horsey in front of you, and eventually everybody backs down. But then in the next
Yeah.
scene, we see him being like incredibly merciful to the peasants. He's like, "Oh, we'll give you back your sheep. Oh, we took money from you. We'll give that back. Oh, you want more money? We'll give you more money." And he's just like being a real nice, friendly guy to everyone. I'm just like, you were gonna like not defile, but publicly embarrass a high council member. I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is the same guy, you know?
Let me tell you my read on that because I'm a little because I was like admitted I was kind of where you were when that first scene happened in the small council,
Mm.
but then kind of thinking back on it and seeing how the episode ended and then what the coming up next in this season of hot D, it's like, well, no, he just really cares about his kids, and he doesn't like when, the master of coin is fucking with his, not fucking with his kid, just kind of like denying his kid from having a good time. So he's
Hmm.
like, well, actually, why don't you go play with him? But by play, I'm gonna have you play horsey, just kind of show you that, hey, don't be mean to my kids or whatever. So that's kind of how I
Okay.
took that first scene. But I will admit, him sitting on the throne and hearing the petitions where he was willing and ready to give back what people were asking for, that was a little bit of a disconnect for me because I just
Hmm.
maybe it's because it's been a year and a half at least since I watched the first season, but I remember him being more of a bastard than that.
Yeah, no, I remember his eyeball brother is the worst of the two, but I figured they were both right
Yes,
bastards.
that's just where my head was at.
Breakaway line up from this episode for me, and I do not know her name. The young queen, the Targaryen queen, the sister of the king, who's also his wife. No idea what
Uh,
her name is.
Elena, right?
Sounds believable.
I had
Anywho,
captions on. I think they said that. Anyway,
at her reintroduction, she tells her brother husband that she's scared. And he's like, well, this is the safest place. No one's going to invade us here. And she's like, I'm not scared of the enemy. I'm scared of the
Mhm.
rats. And at that moment, I was like, that's. They keep
It's
playing her
gonna come
up
back.
is this mix between, like,
Hmm.
crazy and so on the ball, it's not even funny and she just comes off as crazy. So when
Yeah.
she phrased it as that, I was like, she's not afraid of actual rats. She's afraid of the rats in the castle. Spoiler alert, jumping straight ahead to the end of the episode here. Two guys who work for the castle in the High Towers sneak in and kill her child son.
The rat catchers themselves
Yeah, the
too.
rat catchers themselves. So yeah, like I think it was really great poetic justice that I'm afraid of the rats, and here the rats are to do harm to me.
Now, I could be wrong on this, but when she said she was afraid of the rats, it did cut to some of
Him,
her
yeah,
maidens that were there, and I'm pretty sure one of them was there that the rat catchers ran into.
yep.
They're like, "Hey,
So
don't do nothing." Yeah.
so they were in the room when she said she was afraid of the rats, and it definitely lingered on them for a minute. But then
Hmm.
when it hard cut away, the next scene we got is of one of the rat catchers. So it just kind of plays in your mind like, oh wow, the rats are a problem, but not realizing we're looking at the rat himself.
Yeah, while they're playing up at the same time, the guy on the can, I'm blanking on his name and title, but the guy that kind of helped Allison get where she is and stuff, like
Oh,
he's
Laris.
replacing all this. Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
no, I
Yeah.
love Laris. He
I'm
is
very curious to
creepy. He
see.
is a
Hmm.
snake. He is
And the entire
vile.
time, yeah, and like I don't remember if it happened after the scene where Helena was talking about the rats and stuff, but like the entire episode we're building up. Oh, this guy's slowly replacing the
Hmm.
staff of the castle with his own people, and that
Yep, and
can
he's
only
got
end
the
well.
hand of the king out of the way. We know he's got
Hmm.
power over the queen regent. Like, keep your eye on him. He is definitely a sleeper. Personally, I like to compare him to Littlefinger, how he's just kind of a
Yes.
conniving pervert.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I expect big moves from Larry going forward, and
Oh,
I
good
will
lord.
refer to him as Larry.
That's his name.
It's Laris. There's an S in there, but
No,
it's
it's Larry.
Larry. He looks like a Larry.
Yeah.
It definitely. I remembered the sea snake, but I did not remember his name.
Oh yeah.
It's Corlin
Valerian.
Valerian.
I
Chorus
want to say
Valerian. Valerian? Yeah, Chorus Valerian.
Corliss Valerian. Yep.
Yeah. So happy to see them again. Their hair, everybody's hair looks fantastic in this series. That's just a given. The white
Hmm.
hair really stands out. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we
While
did a
we're on
yeah.
him real quick. The character he talked to was played by a guy, an actor, Boubacar Salim, who is a homie. He made a game recently, so shout out to him. He's only got like a minute of screen time so far, but maybe he'll get more.
Oh, I'm sure he'll get more. He's way too big.
Hmm.
I like that we got a nice reintroduction to all of the characters. I can't say everyone. I'm sure we missed someone, but we didn't linger
Hmm.
on anyone. No one got too much screen time. Nobody got not enough. Everyone like at least got their camera to be like, I'm in this series. And I think it played
Yeah.
really well. Like nobody felt forced or wedged in. It was just a real natural introduction to everyone, and it played. Um, yeah, one new character though. So we get Lord Corliss down on the docks talking to Alan. That's his actual
Alan.
name. Yeah,
Alan.
and he's just like, I heard you're the one who stopped me from drowning and you saved me. And he's just like, oh, I'm just doing my duty. It didn't come
Hmm.
off as humble, though. I don't know if you caught that. He seemed reluctant, like I didn't have a choice but to save you. I don't
It
know.
seemed more matter of fact to me. Like he did it, and that was all there is to it.
Yeah, but
Like it
like he
wasn't out
did.
of anything
But
else.
even before that, he didn't seem like he wanted a conversation with this guy. He doesn't seem
Yeah.
to hate him. Like he bowed and was polite and all that, but he seems to not care about his existence,
Right.
despite having saved his life.
Hmm.
So curious to see what's going on with Alan.
Good old Alan.
Matt Smith just absolutely ruled every second he was on screen.
He's
My
good,
God,
man.
he's
He's so
good.
good.
He's good. I underestimated him. He was so much fun as the Doctor, but I thought that's who he was. Is a goofy, fun, wacky guy. But
Oh,
he is playing dramatic so well.
you should watch Morbius. He's not good in
No.
Morbius, but you should
What?
watch Morbius. Anyway, um, yeah, Eric and Eric. What was
So
I
I love the scene where Rhaenyra comes back. She's been off mourning the death of her child. She's flying around. She's finally found conclusive proof of his death.
Could have been any dragon's wing that she found. I
Listen,
don't know.
listen. No, you found a dragon's wing. You found some clothes. Maybe it's just because I've been reading One Piece, but I'm not convinced he's dead.
Yeah,
Like
right.
there is near certainty of death, but I have not seen a corpse, and until I see the corpse, I refuse to believe it because
Hmm.
it very easily walks up on the beach 3 seasons later and he's like, "I've just been raising more dragons this time." So yeah, so dead,
Yeah.
but I am personally unconvinced. But that's a me problem. Anywho, so she's been off mourning his death. She comes back to her council plotting war, and they're like, uh, Matt Smith is ready to go to Harrenhal at a moment's notice, and they're talking like, we can get our troops over to the Vale, and the blockade's stronger than ever. And all she says is, "I want the head of Aemon Targaryen," and just walks out of the
Yeah.
room.
Hmm. No, that was good. That
And I
was,
was
I
just
think,
like,
her first
oh,
spoken line of the episode, and everyone's just kind of like, "Oh, okay."
which I get it. I mean, murdered your son. You hate him. He's kind of a twat who helped usurp the throne. Like, definitely his death is warranted.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you're fighting a whole freaking war right now. I feel like maybe the council should have stepped in and been like, how about we get him at the end of this all? How about we kill everyone before him?
Hmm.
Like, you can't just let emotions rule you in times of war. So, great character moment for sure. It was powerful, it was dramatic. But from an actual war planning perspective, maybe don't immediately go after, like, the second highest ranking member specifically. Maybe weaken them at all.
Sticking with Rhaenyra, she had a really good scene with their other son when he came in to report the people he was able to bring to their side. Like the people in the Vale, the people at the wall and stuff. And he starts off all formal, calls her, her grace and stuff. And as he's reporting off his stuff, he just like breaks down. They have like a touching scene where they come
Mm-hmm.
together and start like holding each other. I didn't cry, but I was like, oh, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
That was
no,
really
it's
good.
like, because last time they all saw each other, you had another one of you who was alive and with you.
Hmm.
And he came back, and to his credit, like, he not only completed his job, but came back to complete the briefing of it. And it
Hmm.
wasn't until he saw his mother that he finally got to cry about his dead younger brother.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think something similar for Rhaenyra as far as that goes. Like she wasn't able to fully mourn, and they touched on this in the episode. Rhaenys did when she was talking about her child's death from season one. That
mhm.
Wasn't really able to truly start grieving and moving on until she had like formative proof that her
Mhm.
child was dead. So that
Again,
was a
the
good
fact
release
that
for both of
we
them.
reference that as proof and then still didn't get a body, I am just not like
I'm not convinced.
it's. I am so prepared to be wrong about this, but I am so skeptical of death on TV anymore. Especially when you're expecting the death, when it's like, oh, that death happened so hard, you better believe it. Where's
Hmm.
the body? No,
Right, right.
I, back there probably. Like,
Hmm.
no, I need to see corpse to have death confirmed.
Yeah.
or
Fair
complete
enough.
series without character returning, unless it's Boba Fett.
Um, yeah, no, I'm gonna be honest. I think I was more in line with what was going on with Rhaenyra's side with her faction than I was
Hmm.
with anything on the other side of the faction until the end of the episode. But that's because of what, Damon, what, no, what is Matt Smith? Yeah, Damon
Damon.
was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, so
Um,
he was definitely breakaway. You're right. I obviously we everyone's gonna like Rhaenyra's side more.
hmm
That being said, I want more Larry. Like he is the one character in Hightower I'm really like. You're right. I don't hate Ed the King or the Eyeball Boy or the Queen Regent or Otto, but they're just
hmm
not as good as the actual Targaryen Valerian line. But I love Larry. I love a good conniver.
Yeah. And I think what really worked for me was like the last bit of the episode. I
Mm-hmm.
think, because we start this season on feeling sorry for Rhaenyra because he just lost his son, War's breaking out, and it happened in the worst way possible, pretty much. So you kind of start grieving and with having your sympathies for their side, and the way we end this episode, it's like, oh well, I feel like they took things a little too far. It's like, ugh. It's kind of like about Game of Thrones in general is
Mm-hmm.
that there's no real clear cut good guy.
So another thing I'm gonna quick point out:
Hmm
Damon definitely hired them to kill Aemond and was like, he has one
Yes,
eyeball and silver hair. He's not hard to find.
son for his son. Yeah,
And they go for the wrong son. They find a baby and they kill that one instead.
they find someone they call the queen, even though it wasn't Allison. Yeah,
No.
so
So definitely, like that was a moment where I was like, oh, I forgot what kind of show I'm watching. I forgot this is just a Game of
yeah,
Thrones like.
yep,
It's like,
yep.
nope, it's child murder, it's incest, it's whatever they decided to throw in.
hmm
There are no bars, nothing to hold on to.
Yep, and it completely lingered on them. Like the entire last few minutes of the episode was just following these two people, Blood and Cheese, and they
Hmm.
eventually you're just following them for like the last 10 minutes. You're like, I don't feel good about this at all.
What did you call them? Blood and cheese?
What was their names?
Really? I missed
Pretty
that.
sure.
Who named their kids Blood and Cheese?
I don't know if we know their actual names. I think it's one of those scenarios where they're just called Blood and Cheese.
I legitimately, if they said that, I missed that line. That's incredible.
They said in the post episode thing and like a bunch of comments keep calling it the Blood and Cheese event, so I don't know. I'm just going off what other people tell me. I don't
Well, I
fully
mean,
know.
I could buy cheese because of the rats, and I could buy blood because of the blood. I don't buy that that's their even code names. But that being said, I don't know. I could be convinced. Anywho, you had the stowaway on the boat, right? The white worm or whatever her name was. I don't
hmm
remember her. They gave
Oh,
her a lot of screen time for someone who I was like, I don't know who you are.
yeah. No, I only remembered her briefly because yeah, she did have some important roles and eventually did sell Damon and his faction out. But yeah, she had a lot more screen time this episode than like most of what she had in season one. So I was a little bit surprised. Maybe she'll have more of a role to play moving forward. I don't know.
I'm willing to believe they didn't dedicate that much screen time to someone who's just going to be off screen the rest of the series. I think she has
Yeah,
some role to play. Who knows what it is? I was very confused. I was like, why are we lingering on this stowaway? Who even is you?
yeah. But that was one of those things when they did like hand over to her. I'm like, who is that? And then they're like, it's the White Worm. I'm like, oh, I remember the White
Was
Worm. Okay.
she like in one of the whorehouses and just an informant?
Yeah, she's kind of similar to Larry in that she's got people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those kind of types,
She looks less
obviously.
perverted and conniving despite working in a whorehouse. The perverted part,
Yeah,
not the conniving part. That's
I
just
don't remember if she
separate.
worked in a whorehouse or not, but I think she was.
If we weren't in the castle, we were in a whorehouse. Those were the two locations in season one.
No, you're correct. All right.
What else? What else? Uh, I hate the King's friends. I hate Aegon's posse. I think they're supposed to all be a bunch of losers, so I'm not
I think so.
disappointed that I hate them. But they're annoying, and I want to take them down a peg. It's not
They
even like
definitely
Joffrey where I'm like I want to punt this
no.
kid into the sea. I'm just like I
Just
want to see
I don't
you
like their
crash your
faces.
parents' car, so you have to get
Right.
yelled at by daddy.
Right, right. They did have a good moment where they're marching in to the throne room and they throw out magnanimous, and Aegon just turns around and is like, magnanimous? You really said that.
No, they
So,
definitely. I like the joke of they're trying to pick him a title, but don't know what title to pick.
hmm.
That being said, oh, there was another one. What was it? What was a thing? Again, I'm probably going to say this every week. Keep your eye on the Maesters. They are up to no good. There is something going on with them all the time. They are conniving for literal hundreds of years. They definitely implanted the High Towers as the Hand of the King, and then the Queen Regent, and the what's their citadel called? I know it's an old town, but
Oh,
like
fuck.
whatever the freaking Tower of the Maesters is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's in Hightown where the High Towers or in Old Town where the High Towers rule. So now they've taken the royalty from their hometown and got them to the top political positions in the world, and they've married into the royal family, and they're kind of in control of everything. And before this, they did the same thing with the Targaryens, and after this, we see the Maesters are still around with the Baratheons. And they always seem to end up on top. And we know, at least in the modern day Game of Thrones stuff, Jaqen Hagar, he's invaded Hightower, Old Town, whoever.
The
Uh,
tower.
he's at the library and he's checking out books without a card. Is we know he's in there for some stuff. They've obviously got
Hmm.
secrets. Keep your eyes on him. I'm going to remind you on a weekly basis. Patrick, you have any other thoughts?
Mm. Solid episode. Good acting from just about everybody. Solid music. I was a little concerned now that Patty Considine is no longer part of the cast, but I don't think I have anything to worry about. Good
There you
episode.
go, folks. Little Debbie's no longer. She's got her cast off. That's going to do it for us this time. Once more, this is the Hot D Lover Boys. This is the reaction to episode 1. Stay tuned next time to see reaction to episode 2. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on them notifications. It will go live, well, not live, but up right after the episode and we watch it. And then, yeah, you'll also gain access to all of our other content, such as various movie and trailer reviews. So if that sounds good to you, like the video, like I said, subscribe, leave your comments and thoughts down on the episodes below, and we will see you next time.